Good morning, dear students. Today we will discuss about a topic in entrepreneurship development, which is very important to learn, very important to know about the importance of this particular topic. Idea generation is the basic function of any startup or any entrepreneurship, and it has become very crucial that if you do not have idea, then startup would be very difficult to become successful. So in fact, how do we generate idea? How can we develop idea? The basic root cause, root seed is creativity. How much creative you are. To going back, something related to this creativity, we all have heard and learned in our behavioral sciences that a rebellious character of any personality or any particular person is basically helps you to understand how to say no. Rebellious personalities are not easily accepting your idea. They do have some alternate idea, some different idea, so their way of thinking is different. Maybe sometimes they are opposing you, but when they oppose you, it basically gives them some input. So we will discuss about this idea generation process, and if we simply look at that, what is an idea? So if you think that an idea is simply any thought or any input or suggestion as to a possible course of action, means when someone says that see, Ram is going. So is there any option which comes to your mind that no, Ram is not going, Sam is going? So this one is suggestion, maybe a thought that comes to your mind. Now if this Sam comes to your mind, means some stimulus that you have received from that activity or that event. Those stimulus indicates some different possible option. And when you say no, that is Sam, it means there is a possible course of action which is visible now. So when we talk about an idea, it means any thought or suggestion which can become a course of action, or any course of action which can become the future activity. If you are having some thought and you have expressed it, so basically your feelings which are expressed becomes thought, and we need to learn this thing. It starts when you say no to anybody. If you accept everything, your parent says that your mother cooks a very good breakfast, and you say, yes ma'am, it's very good, very tasty. So in a way, you are killing the creativity, alternate options or alternate school of thinking or thought-provoking domain. So you are not giving, you are not promoting them. And as soon as you say, mom, breakfast is good, but, so whenever you put some but, whenever you say no, it means you have a probable yes in your mind. So it becomes very important to understand. And this yes can give you a new thought, a new idea, a new creative direction, because this no force you to think, create a storm in your thinking process. Look at what is senseful and what is senseless, ways and means to convert your no into yes. And that is why we say that when you say no, it means you are getting something as an alternate developed in your mind or as an option in your mind, and you understand. And this becomes very important to understand through using a perceptual process, how we perceive that something is good or something is bad. Let us discuss something related to perception and creativity. How do perception is related to creativity? And if you look at this, if some object that we look at, so we have a sensation process in our perception, sensation followed by attention, then interpretation, and then response, which is usually a perception. What we sense, so we have all these sensing organs. Through eyes, we receive so many stimulus at the same time. Some stimulus passes through, some stimulus are rejected. Say for example, in this, if so many stimulus comes, some stimulus says that natural beauty, beautiful eyes, or beautiful face. So some stimulus are through this, like beauty term or beauty stimulus is passed by your eyes sensing and then passed and received it. So it is called reception. But some other stimulus which are rejected, these rejected stimulus, because for these stimulus your sensing organ says no. Likewise, when you smell something, so maybe that your some smell is passed through and some stimulus are rejected. Something you hear, say for example, with this and an air blow and then air frequency and all those things which you hear in a serene environment, and out of that something you like, something which is passes through this sensing organ and you pass through for perception, and some you reject, some stimulus. I can understand that every sensing organ is functioning in a different way. Like taste, something you may prefer and you pass through. Touch sense may say something to you, and you some touch which you say that is smooth and very very soft and all, so you pass through. Some stimulus which you sense through your touch, you are not able to pass it and you say no, you reject it. So why all these are rejected? That is very important, because when these are rejected, that means your sensing organs say no to these stimulus. So here you can develop another idea that since these are rejected one, right? So when you reject these, so what these stimulus says, why they are rejected, and when you reject them, it means they were also carrying some meaning, something, and they were originating from the same way. Maybe that sometime you're the right stimulus, the correct stimulus is not being passed, the wrong stimulus is passed. Say for example, in this case, if this indicates that yes, feelings as a very important dominating domain in your response, and says that there is a beautiful picture, but on other side another organ which receives some smell and says that it is not basically a beautiful picture, but rather it is a flower, and these are basically the flower and leaves, and these flower and leaves can give you the correct attitude towards the particular object or event. So this is basically attitude that is reflected. So your attitude, your personality, your feeling, your opinion, your values, your behavior, all these are very important to understand. And in this perception process, whichever is rejected, say for example, your eyes might have rejected the option or stimulus of this appearance as a flower, right? this idea, this stimulus may be rejected, and the stimulus of beautiful face like lips, like eyes, so this is accepted. So when this is rejected, it means this does have some meaning because it is originated from the original object. So idea, you need to capture the idea from here. You need to learn that what is the, this gives you alternate thought process. Because once you say this will be concluded in some perception that something is being perceived, that yes, whether it is a beautiful picture, beautiful lady, or it is a flower, or it is a beautiful environment, or it is a whatever perception that you conclude with. But at the same time, the stimulus which are rejected, those stimulus are very important to understand. Those stimulus are very important for your alternate idea. Might be that the original thoughts is the correct thought is here, which is being rejected. Might be that when you taste something, so some shrewdness which comes and which becomes a value of particular characteristic, that may be the actual one, and you may understand what exactly the object is. Your perception may be very correct, very close to the object, but it is not necessary sometime, and this may be because of the perceptual distortion. One sense may receive some stimulus, maybe 1, 2, 3, or maybe reject all stimulus. So it depends how to interpret. Interpretation becomes very difficult. One stimulus, one sensing organ says that it is a beauty. Some says it smells very, it is natural thing. It is a thrilling characteristic, and it is softness. And so what you conclude in terms of behavior, in terms of values, opinion, attitude, feelings, what perception you get out of it, that depends what you have received. What you have not received, that will give you an alternate object to innovate, to create. So creativity starts from this particular process, and you need to understand what is left behind, what is not being accepted. Like in any particular product, what do you see? If everything is fine, perfect product is there, then you cannot say that there is a scope of creativity. What is being rejected? Sometimes customer says that the fragrance is not good. So fragrance characteristic is rejected, not received by person. So it means you have to work on your fragrance. So this fragrance domain is a domain where you can create something new, you can add something new. So with this, you can add some value to the particular product. So creativity, basically, the main creativity starts when you observe things seriously. Say for example, the same product, say for example, some product you go to market and purchase it. If you are observing things very seriously, and you are as a human nature, you are evaluating the various characteristics and various features which are there in particular product or in particular service. So observe things very seriously, and when you observe things very seriously, your brain, your mind, your thought process will give you something positive and something negative, some criticism, some negativity, that must be there, which should not reflect as an intentional. You should criticize products innocently. That means what is not okay in that product. And if you know, if you underline, if you identify what is not okay, what is not required, and to identify what is not required, that requires some intelligence. So that is why I have written it, that identify drawbacks, what is not required, what is not okay in that, identify drawbacks intelligently. So your intelligence is very important. If you use intelligence in criticizing, it will be very difficult because perception will change. And if you identify innocently, again the process will derail. So you are identifying that what is not correct in a product intelligently. That means what is not required, what should be avoided, and what should be added in replacement of that. So this is very important step. Find better alternates of that what is not required in that. So when you go with find alternates, so this require a thought, brainstorming process, thought provoking activity, and this can be found in all the no's, all the rejected options, all the not received stimulus. And if you analyze those things, you will find a different alternates of what was wrongly included in product and which you have intelligently removed or identified. So find a better alternates, what would be a better, better than the option which you have identified intelligently, and then focus on that alternate to develop them as a key feature, the main characteristic, the main part of that. So this is very important. Here you start developing, means your research starts here. So your creativity, your idea generation must go through with these 5 stages. Observe seriously, criticize innocently, identify intelligently, find alternates, and focus to develop. So these are very important steps in your idea generation, and I hope that this will help you a lot in understanding what exactly idea generation is in this very small video. So thank you all.